Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I have a guest again this week. It's Alisa Zingerman. Hello Alisa.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Hello.
Alisa is a Hebrew teacher. She's someone I know from attending polyglot events over the years, and I'm very pleased to have cornered you because I want to know about learning Hebrew from you today. You started learning Hebrew when you were a teenager, became fluent, and then did your first degree in Israel, I think. So it's very much your second or third, almost first language now, with your native Russian and English, which you learnt also at a young age. Which is the strongest of the three languages for you, would you say?
Well, I have a routine joke about Hebrew. If Russian is my mother tongue, so Hebrew is my stepmother tongue. Okay.
And you started to teach English at one stage, but then switched mainly to Hebrew. How did that come about?
I just, in the university, I the degree, my teaching degree is that of an English teacher and not that of a Hebrew teacher. And I never thought, after I finished the degree, I thought that going into the classroom with 30 angry, wild kids, no way, it's not for me, it's never gonna happen. I'm not a teacher, I don't have the character of a teacher. I was thinking about the school, and then it happened that I was taking lessons online, and I decided to maybe I can give several lessons online just, to cover the expenses. And then I started teaching Hebrew. Hebrew was in high demand, and I saw the shining eyes of the students who really want to know Hebrew. And me, with my background of learning Hebrew, I felt I really identified with the learners, and I still remember, I had to remember how it happened back then and the problems I had and the difficulties I had. And so I resonate so much with Hebrew learners because I still remember the stages of learning Hebrew. That's how it came to be.
Now, for me as a Welsh learner, the story of Hebrew is always inspirational because of the context of language revival. So the way that Hebrew was really brought back from the dead almost in the 20th century or the end of the 19th century beginning, but from having been a language of scripture for many centuries, with the Jewish diaspora speaking Yiddish mainly, or other Ladino and so on, different languages, but not as a spoken vernacular, and then being brought back and then being taught to masses of people returning to Israel at the time of the formation of the State of Israel, and then during the decades after that. It's very much in this revival context. Does that background colour the way it's taught and the whole culture of learning Hebrew today, would you say?
We keep living the language that's constantly changing, and the language we have, the modern Hebrew have today. One effect of this fast revival was that this young language, imagine that normal language, we kind of made rewind to the stage where we left off, somewhere when the Bible was written, and we started, instead of having 2,000 years of development of the language, we fast forwarded everything into 100 years instead, with all the implications. And it means that many words had to be reinvented. We call it lechadesh milim. That's to renew words. We do not invent words. No. We renew words. So based on the roots system we have, on the grammatical system or syntax, the patterns, how words are coined and made, we are creating several people were creating new words. And until today, there's the Academy of Hebrew Language, the greatest authority, and she's until today inventing new words. Some are accepted by the people, some are not, So we have two words for email. Some people say email, some people say doal, which is like electronic email.
That sort of process, though, even without the revival context, is very common, isn't it? From the Académie Française, or in Iceland, or all over the place. Or then the process where strong living languages, such as Turkish or Czech, were sort of purified in that foreign words were pushed out of the language as part of the national movements in those countries in the 19th and 20th century. So in some ways, the revival context seems to me to be a special story, but in other ways, it's actually part of a pretty general trend. And of course, even in English, which those of us who are native English speakers tend to regard as the natural order of things, somebody must have made up the term email at some stage. You know, these are not things which developed and out of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle or something like that. Now,
Right.
you said you soon began to attract students to come and study Hebrew. Who is the typical Hebrew learner? Would it be somebody then who has a Jewish background, apart from linguists, who has a Jewish background and is wanting to reconnect or is thinking of moving to live in Israel? Was that your typical student?
Excellent question. Great question. I kept myself asking it and trying to have some common denominator. It's a phrase that Hebrew speakers love, this common denominator. Well, maybe insider joke. What unites all those different students who come to me to learn Hebrew? What do they have in common? They're very diverse. I can roughly tell you that there are three groups of learners. Yeah, I have at least the smallest group are those who want to make aliyah, this immigration to Israel. That's the smallest group, because if you want to make aliyah, then you have a very standard route. Then you go through Sochnut, and then you go to Ulpan in Israel. You don't take online lessons. My people are online learners, and most of them do not live in Israel currently, and most of them do not even intend to make aliyah. Some of them are Jewish and do it for the heritage. Maybe so. Out of those Jewish, there are two parts. One, doing it for reasons of being connected with the ancient culture, or maybe people who want to accept Judaism. People want more connection with the Bible. So Bible is one magnet, a very, very strong magnet. The other part of Jewish students are those who just love Israel, or they have a family in Israel and they want to connect to them, or they have friends, or they love to visit and be a tourist in Israel. So connection to Israel as a country and as culture. And the third type is non-Jewish learners, and many are not Jewish. There's a smaller fourth type. So the third type is the non-Jewish who care to read the Bible. They want to read the Bible in the original language and just want to understand. And you don't have to be even religious for that. It's just this. It's a very like an ancient language, and knowing modern Hebrew, it does give you a certain doorway into understanding ancient Hebrew, which, as we said, it was kind of a very fast forward, so we didn't really develop that.
So they are quite close together then. Are they closer than, say, I don't know, Italian and Latin, or ancient Greek and modern Greek, or I don't know?
About ancient Greek, I've been asking about ancient Greek. I can tell you one thing. Children in school can open the Bible and read it and understand. They need no special course and no special preparation. Yes, they have to guess certain words, or wait for the teacher to come and explain it. What does this strange word mean? Because not 100% of the vocabulary from the Bible was used. So.
Now, Hebrew is a Semitic language like Arabic or like Amharic in Ethiopia. So if somebody has already got the language bug or is a native speaker of one of those languages, would they find learning Hebrew easier because there's already a basis?
Yeah, I had maybe several students who were native speakers of Arabic. Oh my, it's such a pleasure. It's such an amazing experience. How they learn very naturally. The whole system, the verb system, which is like root based, we have like 3 letters for the root. For English speakers, even for English speakers with background of learning different languages for polyglots, if they have never learned a Semitic language, it's there's certain resistance. The brain is resistant. For speakers of Semitic language, it's a natural thing that verbs behave the way they behave.
And the language is written, it's only the consonants which are written, is that right? Like Arabic. And then do you have these dots that you can put in to indicate the vowels optionally? So it's a bit like text language in English, where you can write TKT for ticket or something if you're texting. Is that right? That's how it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the best explanation I've heard. I use that for my students. I used to write instead of telephone, TLPHN, yes, and say, can you understand? So yes, of course. Yes. So if you know the word, you can read it. If you don't know the word, you cannot read it. That's simple.
Would you recommend that students learn the writing system at the very beginning or later on?
I teach at the same time. I teach a little, again, it depends on the student, but normally I divide the alphabet in like 4 parts. And the first lesson, if it's a 0-0 beginner, we learn we learn some basics and some letters, and we combine letters into words. I do it like together. I think it's a natural way. I don't like learning the alphabet first, because then okay, you'll be able to read everything, you won't be able to understand. So gradually.
So they go together then. The two sort of go hand in hand. When people arrive in Israel, will they find that people are ready to speak to them in English, which normally if you're a tourist and you're not learning Hebrew would be very welcome, or in Russian for that matter, because there are a lot of Russians there. But if you do want to learn to speak Hebrew in your faltering, stumbling way as a learner, are Israelis encouraging of that for people who are not? I'm not talking now about people who are going to emigrate there of a Jewish background, but learners coming cold, as it were, without any context. How would they be received? What would the typical experience be?
Excellent question. Excellent question. That's kind of a struggle. So the majority of Hebrew learners claim that when they come to Israel and people hear some shade of accent, they tend to switch to English. I've just posted in my Facebook a video about that. And then the Hebrew learners struggle and they complain. They say, why are they speaking English to me? I know Hebrew. I've worked so hard to learn Hebrew. Stop speaking English to me. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, several learners come back from Israel and I'm asking them, how was it? Was it difficult to, push Israelis to speak Hebrew to you? And they said, no, not difficult at all. I just speak Hebrew, and they answer in Hebrew. So it's all about the attitude. The thing is that Israelis first speak Hebrew. Most of them speak Hebrew. It's a small country. We have lots of connections with the United States. Many have families. Like half of the country have families in the United States. The other half are in Russia, roughly speaking. Not really, but I'm exaggerating.
So they speak English. Everybody speaks English, really, or Russian, as well as Hebrew.
Yeah. And it's difficult to find someone who doesn't speak several words in English at least. But that's first. On the other hand, second, Israelis are very helpful. It's part of the culture. Like if someone is struggling to help someone, that's the most natural thing to do. And they believe that if they switch to English, they are helping. If you state it clearly that no, you're not helping, I am learning Hebrew, then it will stop. This simple.
So it's all about attitude and the strategies. Now, let's talk, Lisa, let's talk resources now. Your site is HebrewHub.com. Why did you set that up then? What's the idea behind that? There's a blog there, I think, and...
Yeah, right. It's the Hebrew Hub. And after all the years of teaching, finally, I have collected everything there on this. Because before, the only place where you could find me was italki. Now I have my own kingdom. That's thehebrewhub.com. And there I have several things. Finally, I set up courses. which I'm very happy to have. I'll talk about it later. And I have some free materials, very cool materials. I have a very long document with all the links free links for Hebrew learning I've been collecting through these years. And I have some interactive books for beginners. And I have a blog. So I do as much as I can on this field of Hebrew learning.
And you have some videos as well, I think, there that you recorded with Hebrew natives. Is that right?
Yes, I had several street interviews. It's like Easy Languages, but I didn't upload it to Easy Languages, but it's more or less the same concept. That's on YouTube.
So if people want to get a sense of how the language sounds, or they want to use those as learning resources, and do they have subtitles then in English? Or
yeah, absolutely. They have subtitles in English, subtitles in Russian for those who want to, and a downloadable PDF with all the text and comments. So.
And in terms of your courses, then you have courses at 2 levels, I think, or there are 2 or 3 courses I saw on there.
Yeah, there are 3 courses. The one which historically, the first one I started from was, I'll start from when I started teaching on italki. I never taught Hebrew before, and I was trying to remember what were the textbooks I was learning with, and I tried to use it with my students, and I saw that it's just not it. I can't use it. Everything is done for new immigrants, the Olim Chadashim to Israel, and it just speaks about some reality which my learners don't know, and all the books are oriented at learning at Ulpan, which means group learning and everyday group learning. I can't afford that. I needed something fast. I needed something very clear, and that's not exactly rooted in the everyday reality of a new immigrant. Yes, and so I had to rework. I just had to start from scratch, and I started from scratch, and I kind of charted out what I want to teach, and ended out as a course, 20-lesson course. And first I was sending kind of materials to students and PDFs to students, and gradually, step by step, it became a site. Now, this site appeared to be a site for I made it as a site for self-study, and I thought, okay, I did it. Everything is set. Anyone can learn Hebrew just by themselves. But then I was a naive teacher. Not everyone wants just, like a naive language learner. I thought that everyone is like me and wants to go through the initial stages alone, which is wrong. Many students want support and want to, to see that they are not alone. And for that, I launched 2 more courses recently. One for beginners, not zero beginners. Zero, I do encourage to go and do the first 7 lessons on their own, but maybe I'll work it out. Maybe I'll be back to teaching zero beginners. Currently, I'm not. Then for semi-beginners, or for people who are learning with Duolingo, who learn bits and pieces here and there, and you can't speak yet. For them, I have a speaking basics course. It's called Speaking Basics, and it lasts 3 months. It has 2 months of kind of more random acquisition, getting used to the language, using the language, and then 1 month of grammar boot camp, let's call it. And the idea is, after those years of teaching one-on-one, the thing that right now I'm very happy I came up with is that we're not having just a lesson a week. We are having a group, a community, a forum, closed forum for those who are in the course. In this forum, I'm giving assignments nearly every day, or I give it in advance, but like you have something to do every day. You are not alone. A learner is not alone, and they are communicating with each other. And I love this kind of action that something has happened. It's like, my idea was that if you are not in Israel currently, but you feel like you have this surrounding, and you have this Hebrew learning pool where it's safe to use Hebrew. No one is judging you. We're all in the same boat, and you can practice it every day if you want to work on it. And then we meet. Meeting is just, just final touch of the whole process, and then the next week, and then another week, and another week.
So,
And
so that would be within the group discussion and so on. Does that use a Facebook group or something like that, or
I use Slack. I use Slack.
Similar. So it's a similar discussion group type of software, and then you have a video call, or is it all done on Slack?
Once a week video call.
So that's a group sort of hangout, as it were, or webinar.
Yep. And once a week group hangout, and we are discussing what we've been doing. So I have an assignment. For example, that was beginners. Let's talk about advanced group. For advanced group, I give them a weekly video. So first day they watch the video. Second day they do a quiz about this video. Third day they read. They more or less, if they want to, they learn the subs, because I give always videos with subs so they can learn the text and learn the useful word. I have cards like Quizlet, or if you want to import to Anki, you can, of the words that I think are most useful from that video. Then I have an assignment, like I have questions, and I'm encouraging students to choose one question and record their answers. So that kind of thing. It's easier than speaking absolutely like in a group spontaneously with me, because it's like unexpected when it's a dialogue. And it's kind of a step before that. Record yourself, think what you want to say, think again, record. And then I have questions. I'm asking my participants to ask questions about what they have seen, the recording, and we're not answering the questions in Slack, in the group. When we meet, we discuss these questions. And that's how the week wraps up, and then we start another one.
So notice, people, that what's happening here is not only contact with other students and with Alisa, but people are sort of taking, within that guided framework, responsibility for their own learning. People are going away and doing a lot more in terms of responding to your assignments, listening to the materials or reading the materials, probably getting some informal inputs as well, perhaps listening to other videos they find on YouTube, or simple radio, or looking at simple books or magazines. But it's a whole thing where it sounds like you're expecting your students, as I would want to do myself if I was a learner of any language, and as I encourage people to do, to sort of, yes, use all the help, but also take responsibility outside the class time for their own learning.
Yes, I'm trying to facilitate, but yes, if it's for learners who want to venture and want to do it, and it's like I am there to create an immersion situation. Those who can't, those who want to take it, they use it.
And you're running these several times a year then. The advanced one is already underway, so to take part in that one, people, it's as you said, 3 months. They're both 3 months. When is the next start for the advanced, or intermediate to advanced, isn't it?
In the intermediate advanced, it's about in a month and a half or something like that. I will announce that. If anyone is interested, you can go to the site and fill out the contact form, and I'll be back to them as soon as possible. So I want to be notified of when this course starts, and I'll tell you.
But the beginners one, or the false beginners, that is open at the moment. And if people are interested in that, then they need to, and they want to be in at the start, they need to sign up pretty quickly, yeah?
Yes, they need to sign up really quickly, because we start. It's already. I had 2 grace weeks, bonus weeks that are running now, and the last week we can register is September 1st, when the school year starts, and then off we go. September 1st.
So then for the 3 months from September, so it'll be September, October, November. So this will be a good time for people wanting to start the new term. In the autumn, if they're thinking of kicking off with Hebrew and they've already got a bit of a base, this will be a good time for them to start, really.
Yeah, and for zero beginners, if someone is absolutely zero, so I encourage them, go through my self-study course, use these 3 months to cover the basics, and then come to the basics course.
And then that would be starting, I suppose, then it will start again in January or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you for telling us about what you offer, Alisa, and about the wider context of Hebrew, why people might want to learn Hebrew, what the language is like, and what they can expect if they go to Israel as visitors, having learnt some of the language.
Thank you so much for the excellent questions. I have to say, sorry for interrupting you. Your questions are just the best. Thank you so much.
So, and if people have questions for you, then they can drop them in the comments underneath this video, or they can head on over to
thehebrewhub.com,
and they can get in touch with you there and sign up for your mailing list and read your blog as well and find out more about what's going on. And use the free resources that you have there, as you said, including the interactive grammar quizzes and so on, and the videos. So, super. Thank you very much for taking this time to tell us all about Hebrew, Alisa. Best of luck with the programs, particularly the beginners one, which is just about to kick off. Folks, if you're interested, if you've got questions, let us know in the comments below. Alisa, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Welcome. Besimcha. Gladly. Besimcha.
Okay. Everybody, thanks a lot for watching. As always, don't forget to subscribe for the vibe if you haven't done already yet. Throw me a thumbs up, tickle that bell, and share or be square. See you next time.
Salam, salam.